start, I'd like to thank Rob Double for not knowing how to use a camera. When it comes to writing manifestos for these things, people tend to put the most irrelevant stuff in. Someone reckons their experience as HCAFC goalkeeper will help them in the mainly football-based role as secretary. Random things have been keep the college Juckes will make him a better senior man. People laughed at that point. But none of these quite tops the fact that Flick put former competitive ice skater on her manifesto to be VP discipline. I must confess I don't really know what the role of VP discipline does. For all I know, it could involve ice skating. When Flick told me what being a teenage ice star entails, however, it demonstrates an extraordinary level of commitment I know she'll bring to whatever role she performs. Apparently, getting up at 4 AM and training 8 times a week is her idea of fun, so you can be certain that she'll show up early to morning disciplinary sessions with Anthony Bash. Also, check out some of the photos of her ice skating. They are hilarious. As you'll probably know, Flick has spent the last year as JCR chair. She knows more about the JCR than most of us, about her functions, and forced impartiality means she'll probably be very fair with you when you take a piss in a bottle of formal. She's weirdly into her student politics. She sat on the student governance committee of the Students' Union. Don't worry, I don't know what that is either. And was a junior SU rep at school. She was deputy head girl, community actions committee chair, dance captain, prefect, did drama and volunteering work. She apparently is a girl who can jump with a stupid amount of commitments and still remain keen. While I mostly come back into college only to check my boats and go to the bar, Flick is involved in all sorts of college activities. She was Cox, the HCBC. She's been on the College University Challenge team 2 years in a row, and her specialist subject, I think, was heavy metal bands. That's a new one. This is a girl who chooses willingly to be on the exec again, and clearly has the wherewithal to perform the role of VP Disc with utmost commitment. I urge you all strongly to vote for her. Thank you.
Good evening. Already familiar with the proceedings of a disciplinary meeting, having already been to a couple himself, I know that Ben is greatly looking forward to being on the other side of the whip for a change, being in charge of VP Dis. Let me tell you, I wouldn't be up here tonight if I didn't believe he was the right person for the job. The sheer number of leadership roles and other positions of responsibility Ben has undertaken provide ample testament to his ability to fill the big boots that Brogan is leaving behind. In high school, he was, to name but a few roles, the German club president, or as he preferred to be known, the Chancellor, the National Honor Society president, and perhaps slightly embarrassingly, the field commander and the president of his high school marching band. So clearly, perhaps not the coolest kid at school, but he enjoyed his time there, I'm sure. Since coming across the ponds, he hasn't shied away from the limelight, being a junior duck publicity rep, a FREP, a senior open day rep, and most notably, JCR secretary. This plethora of experience has enabled Ben to get to know the ins and outs of the college life and develop a budding relationship with the college officers. So much so that Bash even knows Ben's name, a truly remarkable achievement, let me assure you. He's clearly keen on Hatfield as Ben, a friendly and familiar face. You may recognise him from signing up for formal. His very vocal spooning, which I'm sure Rob loves, as well as the weekly emails he sends around, which I certainly delete as soon as they come, but you might find useful. To conclude, Ben is an organised, committed, fun, approachable person who is very determined to make a difference in college and is looking forward to working on and with the exec for another year. So please, don't be a pellet. Vote Ben for VP Dis. He'll be blooming marvellous.
Excellent. So we'll start with questions. I have found that the VP role is well placed to take on big projects in college or focus on a specific area of college life and expand this. Do you have any plans on what you would mould the role into in your home and office, and how would you go about this?
Yeah, so as Brogan said, she kind of took the role in an academic role, and she also had to deal with the PACE renovation, which came largely under her in the last year. My main focus for the next year would be accountability of the exec, and that's something I really focused on in my manifestos. That would involve making sure that all of our manifestos are published. When we come into post, we do a strategic plan review, the JCR strategic plan. So I'd make sure that was published alongside our manifestos. I would meet with every member of the exec as soon as we came in to get a broader list than what we have in the 250 books. And review that on a timely basis to make recommendations to the senior management.
So I think I'd mainly focus on continuing Brogan's work with implementing an academic support system in Hatfield. So working with the welfare team during exam season to make sure there is an academic focus 12 hours, as well as something a system where when you get to Hatfield, you kind of get like a list of names which your subject is keen to help out, so you can ask them help with, because they've done the same activity the year before, and like buying books off them and stuff like that, and so make sure that's in place for when fresh week starts.
Thank you. Part of your job is to monitor the work of the rest of the exec. This could easily become an enormous task. How would you go about this to limit the workload for yourself and also ensure that you aren't being invasive to other people's roles?
So I think the best way to continue with the action points, which we're doing kind of not every single week, but throughout the time on exec. So after exec meeting, sort of action points, certain things that person needs to focus on. But I think it's really important to remember that each person does know what they're doing and like, kind of they're following the rules of their role. So it's important not to kind of be checked on every week to make sure they're doing their job, because chances are they are.
Yeah, so I'll ramble on about this for a minute. I completely agree, action points are a really strong way to make sure that we're following up on the things we agree to do in meetings and also kind of on our strategic and individual goals. Definitely, if you have something, because we meet about once a week, this year it's on Friday, so if we have a deadline coming up on Wednesday, being proactive, just getting ahead of it and saying on Tuesday, just messaging that person saying, oh, how are we doing with this? Like, how can I help you delegate anything that you might not have done in coordinating the rest of the work there?
In my time in office, I found that sconcing informals is often an effective way to manage behaviour on the night, but the number of students that follow through with payments is very low. What policy or strategy would you put in place to ensure that these fines are actually paid?
I think this would definitely involve a lot of work with the treasurer to make sure that we have a system in place where we can compel people to make these payments. I think also publicising that these are things that it does go back into the JCR, and I think making the point that money would go back to improving formals, improving events. But yeah, consultation with the treasurer and the senior manager.
I think working with the treasurer to make sure that you definitely know for sure who hasn't paid their sponsors. I think also an idea which came up later this year, but sort of try to implement earlier on, if it's possible, would be to sort of have the idea of ring-fencing the money that you get from sponsors for formals. So just go to like a specific event or a formal or something like that, so people know exactly where their money's going, and that would be like incentivise them to pay their sponsors.
Situation question. A person is looking very ill in formal, and it seems like they are going to be sick. How do you handle this with regards to making them leave and the sponsor that would come with this?
I think the most important thing is to sort of tell them that if they stay informal and they end up being sick in informal, the fine will be substantially higher. So I would always advise someone to leave if they are going to be sick. And then if there's a particular trouble with sort of paying that amount of money afterwards, to discuss it, maybe bring up the welfare team if it's not to do with just their drinking of alcohol.
Part of my manifesto is to kind of publish clear guidelines on what sort of behaviours would be open to what sort of range of sconces. And I think the one thing we do need to review is whether the sconce will leave informal as opposed to being sick in the formal, how that works. And we can make sure that we are encouraging people to get out of the hall, because nobody wants to deal with that. They're going to be hit with another fine by college for being sick. The catering staff has to deal with it. So I think that definitely reviewing kind of how we deal with sconces is a good thing.
During a disciplinary, a college officer suggests a punishment that you believe is too harsh for the incident. How do you ensure that a more just outcome is achieved?
Again, I'd be proactive in disciplinary, so I'd definitely read up on all the college regulations and try to get an idea of how the college has dealt with that sort of conduct in the past. I think that you need to, when you're making an argument with the college officers, it really needs to be kind of dispassionate. And fact-based. I've been in situations before where I've dealt with disagreement with the college officers. I worked on senior opinions with Anthony, so you can imagine that one. But yeah, no, I think being reasonable with them, they do definitely respond to reason, so I think that's a good way to go down.
I think the most important thing is sort of being confident in voicing your opinions to the college officers, because you are there to represent the JCR member, and just making sure that I think after someone leaves the disciplinary, you sort of have some time just talking to anti-bash and to kind of really voice your opinions there and to try and push as hard for the disciplinary not to end without this sort of fair compromise being made.
The VP Standing Orders state that one of your roles is to liaise with and oversee the work of the Shapes Champions as an ex officio member of the SHAPE team. What is your understanding of the SHAPE team, and how do you see your role integrating into the team and saying that they are a very self-sustaining group?
So yes, it's being an ex officio member on the SHAPE team, which is being an ex officio member is sort of, you're there to oversee it and not really give too much of your own voice to them, just to make sure that they're functioning properly and that you can help them out wherever they can. And the SHAPE team is really important to have built the sort of personal development skills in terms of academic side and getting work experience and things like that. So I think it's really important for you to sort of be the bridge between them and the exec, because obviously we have lots of resources that might not be available to them, so just there to help them with whatever you can.
Yeah, I completely agree with Flick that you are more of a bridge. You're not running the team, you're not there to provide that much direction to the team. They are very well run and self-sufficient, but in exceptional circumstances they might need access to JCR resources. One thing that I would like to do is to include them. We have a social media training workshop that we have when we come into post, and that's something that I would work with the secretary to include them in sort of our social media strategy as a JCR, so we can promote Hatfield College community. But yeah, it's just more of a bridging the gap, sending information back.
How would you go about disciplining your fellow exec members, both regarding their role and behaviour?
I don't know what you're talking about. I think, again, it's being proactive, it's getting ahead of it, broken out in conversations before formals where you sit down and say, we know this is going to be rowdy, these are our expectations as a member of the exec, this is how you're expected to behave, and you're still allowed to have a good time, but you should sort of be on board and try to control where you can, at least your guest behavior, and influence positively people around you. I don't think it's a problem necessarily with Sconsi, but if it did become a problem, you can obviously meet with them after. That's how I've this one.
Yeah, I think it's important just to be like vocal about it from the start. So obviously the exec members shouldn't be held to sort of a higher standard of behaviour than the rest of the people in formal. But then again, we are sort of a team working together, and by being rowdy in formal, you are making the people disciplined the job more difficult. So it's just being really clear about that from the beginning, and not saying you have to behave really well all the time, but that you are making their life harder and their job harder if you don't. So sort of damaging the exec team as a whole by doing so.
Sam?
Your friend is acting a bit formal. They act disrespectfully when you issue a sconce. Are you able to separate your exec and personal life and leave the problem at the door when you leave?
Yes, I think it's really important just to remain fair and treat everyone exactly the same, and so whether someone's your friend or not isn't really relevant in the context of a formal. So yeah, if you sconce someone, I think if you sconce them again, then you can actually ask them to leave, but it's sort of just kind of reminding everyone that while you're doing your job, it's not really fair to put you in that position, so it shouldn't really have anything to do with your friendship with them.
Obviously, yeah, the idea is to be fair in disciplining people, and that means not be overly harsh just because they're your friends, and not letting them get away with murder because they're your friends. As a senior open day rep, I had to discipline, I think, 3 or 4 of my friends on the first couple of days, so I've definitely had experience with this. So no, I don't think it'll be a problem at all.
Year upon year, the number of times students have vomited in college has declined. However, the number of times students have vomited in formal has dramatically increased. What do you think is the cause of this increase in the chugger event, and how could you remedy it?
Again, I think that reviewing sort of the guidelines and making it clear that you're not going to get as much trouble if you just leave formal and go to the toilet and vomit and you take care of yourself as you are, you're going to just be sick and formal. I know catering staff really don't like to deal with it. I don't think that you can really pin it on a certain cause. I mean, the wine, but so trying to remedy the situation would be the best idea there.
Yeah, I completely agree with Ben, where I think the main thing to focus on is for clarify with JCR members that it is definitely better to leave formal if you're going to be sick than to stay in and be sick and to be penalised further if you do.
Thank you. Any questions from the floor? Yeah.
So you've both been on the exec before, so you have preconceived ideas about how the exec should run. Do you think these preconceived ideas could hinder you on the new exec?
So do you think that preconceived ideas of how the exec will work will hinder you in the next year office?
I don't think it would hinder us, if anything, it'd be a kind of help, because obviously we're doing completely different roles to what it was this year, so it's never going to be exactly the same, and so you can offer sort of some information, because obviously we've been around and tried different things before that, so we know have more of an insight into what might or might not work, or sort of what problems you might encounter. But I think as long as you're sort of have an open mind and respect each exec member's opinion as much as yours, then it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I completely agree with Flick. I mean, we have been in the post for a year, but that's not some phenomenal amount of time. People do come up with new ideas sort of while we're on here, and we do have experience, and we can say, well, we know that that's not going to work. And I think being Vice President of this fund, you're in a unique role to, I think the term is deputise and dispute the senior man, so you consult with them so they know, oh, I have this brilliant idea. Well, we tried that last year and it didn't work, but we can just sort of carry on.
What do you see yourself doing on a day-to-day basis?
I do law. I have about 2 contact hours a week, sorry. So a lot of exec work, a lot of checking emails, but I think the main thing on a day-to-day basis is going to be, as I said before, checking out on action points. The Vice President attends a lot of committees that take up day-to-day things, disciplinaries, but time management definitely isn't going to be a problem because I don't have any real other obligations.
Yeah, I do classic, so I'm in a very similar boat where I've got a huge number of contact hours. One of the things which Brogan suggested, which seems to work quite well this year, is sort of like to dedicate your time, so if you've got an hour, to spend 10 minutes emailing first, and then the rest of the time doing work. So it's being really important being organised and making sure that you can fit everything in.
Any more questions? No? Happy days? Brilliant. And now I can ask to give us 1 minute, please.
Okay, I didn't really prepare finishing remarks because I didn't know how much we'd sort of cover, and it's already 10:20, we really want to get to the main event, which is our senior man Hustings. I would just say that my main focus is exec accountability, but I will continue Brogan's work on the academic side, and just try to make sure that I receive all the parts of the role. I'll check out my manifesto for more specific ideas. I thought this would be a bit more exhaustive, so this closing statement is a bit weird. But yeah, that's about it. I hope that you vote BB for VP, to quote an old campaign slogan.
Yes, basically, so I've been on exec for a year now, and I've loved it, and I definitely am very keen to carry on in a new role. And it's sort of, I've been kind of in the unique position where I haven't really had my own voice in the exec, so I've been there to help them function, which has been really great to sort of learn from like an objective point of view, sort of taking a back seat. So I'd be really excited to sort of be in the VP Dips role and being able to be a part of these bigger decisions that I've sort of helped happen this year. And I think with this backing, we give the confidence to make the changes that we need to the JCR. Yeah, lovely.
Because we didn't catch the first bit, are we happy? Because that would be.
We can film again at the end.
Yeah. You love the performance.
I just had it. I'll do it at the end.
Yeah, we can. Thanks so much.